Okay. The Enemy Below Part 2. Thank God this episode doesn't suck. Because the first part was. I had a lot of problems with. And if they kept just doing what they were doing, I'd call the whole thing a failure. But this second episode pretty much redeems uh, the flaws of the first, for the most part. Um, the main thing is they did have the Jon Stewart was acting entirely out of character in the first part, and they still have him going like, mistrusting Aquaman and all that. Like, I told you so. I told you bad stuff was going to happen. I told you. I told you. But it's dialed down. It was so aggressive, and you could almost maybe racist. You could almost call it. I don't know. Just there was such ire in the first part. Now it's more of like, told you, told you. It's dialed way back and becomes way more palatable. Not perfect. I mean, they still have at the end. It's like, well, I guess I have to learn how to trust too. You know, it's a thing you've seen in cartoons and stories a million times. It's cliche, but it needed to be there because otherwise, how are they going to get explain Jon Stewart going back to not being overly paranoid and crazy and freaking out at everything? They have to have that lesson for the kids and for that, but also for the character to explain why they're not that way the next episode. So that's there. And they at least they address it and they tone it way down so it doesn't bother me as much. But the other saving grace is by the end of the episode, it's a journey episode. I really realized this. Taking Aquaman from, as I pointed out, they kind of just a clone of Namor and putting the layers back into him, giving him that depth and that understanding that this is he is going to have to build bridges and it is going to be tough and he is going to have to try to build a better world for not only himself and his people but for the entire world. That's Aquaman. That is Aquaman. By the end of the episode, you get you I recognize Arthur finally. I go, that's the guy. Okay. Still kind of arrogant. Still, a mighty and strongly willed ruler, but a more one who understands he has to work in a world, and there's more than just his way and his philosophy. And that's great to see. I was getting it kind of you almost start to feel bad when he gets beaten up. That Namor, the Namor was scraped off him like some fish scales. Get a fish scaler. Okay, let's scrape off the Namor. Let's put Arthur back on. Okay. And the action was really good. It was. You finally see the Justice League start to act like they would, at least how they're portrayed in the comics. Because when they go to fight the Atlanteans, the defectors, or however you want to view them, whether they've legitimately overthrown their government or not, the Atlantean army trying to melt the polar ice caps and flood the world. They don't kill these guys. They fight them. They blow up their equipment. They knock them off their jet skis of doom. But they're not killing these guys. Which there's been a lot of situations where it just seemed like it would be straight up murder constantly in these earlier episodes. And I guess because it's humans. I mean, well, not humans, Atlantean, but human formed creatures. They can't do that. And I like that. And I'm not against murder. in storytelling, I'm not even against characters killing, but if you're going to have that, have it be consistent with the character in question. Superman is not a flat out murderer. He's not. Batman abhors killing. Won't even use a gun. That's his. So, like I said in the first episode, when they're blowing holes or boiling the white Martians, that's murder. You are killing sentient creatures. That is not something that Superman or Batman does. Hot girl, fine. Hot girl can murder as many people as whatever. I don't care. I'm not going to gripe. I'm not one of those highfalutin murder is always wrong, and well, murder is always wrong, but killing in a situation to protect. I'm not. I don't want to put off the idea that I'm somehow above this. I served as a soldier. I never had to kill anyone, but to protect myself and my fellows, and just for like the defense of myself and my country and my fellow, the guy sitting next to me, I have to be willing to kill because I don't have superpowers and I don't have all the options. It's me or you, and that's okay. Not okay is the wrong word, but I'm not. I understand that point of view. I'm not against that. But when you have a character like Superman or some of these others who their point is, we have enough power not to do that. Not to make that choice. I mean, I wouldn't think Superman would look down on someone killing another person in self-defense when it was them or the other guy. I don't think Superman expects you to lay down your life and let the other one walk away scot-free. Superman has the power not to kill. And that's what it works, is because he could so easily just murder people, but he doesn't. And I like to see them actually doing that and having these characters act that way in the episode. I did notice one real. I mean, they had one thing that was just a cool little nod. Well, not really a nod, but when you think about it, it works on a psychological level. When Arthur gets imprisoned and they're going to try to kill him in an overly elaborate trap. I mean, they're going to throw him in to some volcanic flow deep in the ocean. He's like chained to a big rock, and they have his baby in swaddling. He's, they put him on. They pretty much paste him on there with a big knife too, and his swaddling clothes, his blankie, is blood red. And Arthur's freaking out because he don't want to die, and he certainly doesn't want to see his newborn son get cooked. So he's trying to get free, he gets one hand free, and he's struggling to get to the other one. And you kind of know where it's going if you know Aquaman's history well enough. If you know, well, not current Aquaman, but very recent history of Aquaman, you know where this is going. So when you see that red bandage wrapped around one of his arms, and where you understand, you go, oh, well, that they can still keep it red then because they established that. But at the same time, your mind goes, that's a bloody stump. That's bloody. Isn't that clever that they thought ahead enough to have that color choice? So even though it was red to begin with, it has that significance. It's clever. It really is clever that they thought that was far enough ahead to do that. That was very good on their part. And the action was really good, and the action was fun, dynamic, intense. I mean, everything I could nitpick about it, I really don't care, because I thought this story as a whole, it really started to hit a balance of setup and payoff. This is the first time I really felt that the second part, the payoff, the big fight at the end, wasn't rushed, wasn't forced to just go get to the end. This feels like it has a fleshed out ending. This feels there's of course, given more time they could have done more, but what's there feels complete. You have the turnaround you want. You have this is probably, as much as I don't like parts of the first one, as an overall story from beginning to end, I think this is the most satisfying set of episodes as an arc. I still think the best episode is episode 1, The Secret Origins Part 1. I still think that's the best episode. But for beginning to end piece, The Enemy Below is the best so far.
I am not a freaky fish guy.